Picture this: Rome, 44 BCE, the Ides of March. The air is thick with tension as senators whisper in shadowed corners of the Forum. Julius Caesar, the most powerful man in the world, strides confidently toward the Senate, unaware of the knives waiting for him. But what if, in this sprawling, chaotic empire of togas, gladiators, and political backstabbing, there was a man who could see through the fog of deceit, a man with a mind sharper than a gladius, piecing together clues that others miss? Enter Sherlock Holmes. Yes, that's Sherlock Holmes, but reimagined in the heart of ancient Rome. What if the world's greatest detective wasn't chasing Moriarty through foggy London streets, but unraveling conspiracies in the Eternal City? This is the question we're diving into today, in a 10-part journey that blends the brilliance of Holmes with the grandeur and grit of the Roman Empire. So, grab a seat in the Colosseum, hit that like and subscribe button, and let's step into a world where deduction meets decadence. Imagine Sherlock Holmes, with his piercing eyes and relentless logic, stepping into the bustling streets of Rome in the 1st century BCE. The city is a labyrinth of marble temples, crowded tenements, and noisy markets where merchants hawk everything from olives to exotic silks. The air smells of roasted meat and incense, and the clatter of chariot wheels echoes off stone walls. Holmes, draped in a toga, but still clutching his trusty pipe, let's say it's a Roman calamus, filled with some exotic herb, is an outsider in this world of senators, slaves, and soldiers. But his mind, it's as sharp as ever, cutting through the chaos like a well-aimed javelin. In this chapter, we'll set the stage for Holmes' Roman adventure, exploring how his detective skills translate to an empire ruled by ambition, superstition, and raw power. We'll meet his Roman counterpart to Dr. Watson and uncover the first mystery that sets our story in motion. Rome in this era is a detective's dream and nightmare rolled into one. The empire spans millions of square miles, from the sands of Egypt to the forests of Gaul, and its capital is a melting pot of cultures, languages, and secrets. Holmes would thrive here, where every whispered rumor in the Forum could hide a plot to topple an emperor. But he'd also face challenges unlike anything in Victorian London. No Scotland Yard, no telegraphs, no forensic labs, just his wits, a wax tablet for notes, and a city where loyalty shifts faster than the tides. To ground this, let's imagine Holmes arriving in Rome during the reign of Augustus, around 27 BCE, when the Republic is giving way to the Empire. The transition is messy. Political rivals are exiled, assassinated, or bribed, and the Senate is a nest of vipers. Holmes, perhaps posing as a Greek scholar named Sherlockus Holmius to blend in, sets up shop in a modest insula apartment near the Suburra, Rome's gritty underbelly. His first ally, our Roman Watson, is Lucius Vorenus, a grizzled centurion, turned private informant inspired by the character from HBO's Rome. Vorenus is practical, loyal, and skeptical of Holmes' eccentric methods. But he knows the city's pulse, its gangs, its senators, its secrets. Together, they form an unlikely duo. Holmes, the cerebral outsider with a knack for spotting a liar by the twitch of their toga, and Vorenus, the street-smart Roman who can navigate the city's underworld. Their partnership begins when a wealthy patrician, Gaius Marcellus, hires them to solve a peculiar theft. A sacred relic, a golden eagle from Jupiter's temple, has vanished, and its loss threatens to spark riots among the superstitious masses. The case seems simple, but Holmes senses something deeper, a thread that could unravel a conspiracy reaching the Palatine Hill itself. To solve this, Holmes employs his signature deduction. Adapted to Roman life, he examines the crime scene at the temple, noting scuff marks on the marble floor suggesting a struggle, traces of cheap wine on a priest's robe odd for a sacred rite, and a stray laurel leaf from a wreath not native to the temple's grove. These clues, meaningless to others, tell Holmes the thief was no ordinary looter, but someone with access to elite circles. He cross-references this with Varenus' knowledge of Rome's black market, where stolen relics often surface. The trail leads them to a seedy taberna near the Tiber, where they overhear a nervous merchant muttering about a patron who paid for the eagle's theft. Holmes' method observation, hypothesis, elimination feels almost alien in a city ruled by omens and oracles, but it's exactly what makes him dangerous. The stakes are high. A missing relic isn't just a theft, it's a political weapon. If the masses believe Jupiter's favor is lost, Augustus' fragile new regime could crumble. Holmes and Varenus must navigate a world where priests wield as much power as senators, and where a single misstep could land them in the arena facing lions. By the end of this chapter, they've identified a suspect, a disgraced senator named Publius Clodius, exiled but still pulling strings from the shadows. The chapter closes with Holmes staring out over the Forum at dusk, the city's torches flickering like the clues in his mind, knowing this theft is just the beginning. This sets the stage for our next chapter, where Holmes dives deeper into Rome's political intrigues, uncovering a web of betrayal that could shake the empire. What do you think? Would Holmes thrive in Rome's chaos, or would its brutality overwhelm even his genius? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for the next part of this epic tale. The sun rises over Rome, casting golden light on the marble columns of the Forum. But beneath the city's grandeur lies a cesspool of secrets. Sherlock Holmes, or rather Sherlockus Holmius, stands at the edge of the Suburra, his sharp eyes scanning the crowd for clues. Last chapter, we left Holmes and his Roman ally, Lucius Varenus, on the trail of a stolen golden eagle, a sacred relic from Jupiter's temple. What seemed like a simple theft is now unraveling into something far more dangerous, a conspiracy that could threaten Augustus' fledgling empire. In this chapter, we'll dive into the heart of Rome's political underbelly, where Holmes' deductive genius clashes with a world of bribes, betrayals, and blood. We'll see how he navigates the treacherous alliances of senators and schemers, and we'll uncover the next piece of the puzzle, a cryptic message that points to a secret meeting in the catacombs. So, settle in, and let's follow Holmes deeper into the eternal city's shadows. Rome in 27 BCE is a city of contrasts. By day, it's all pomp and processions, with priests chanting hymns and senators debating in the Curia. By night, it's a different beast. Thieves slip through alleys, informants whisper in tabernas, and powerful men plot behind closed doors. Holmes, with his knack for seeing what others miss, is perfectly suited to this game of shadows. But he's not in London anymore. Here, truth is a luxury, and loyalty is bought with coin or fear. The theft of the Golden Eagle isn't just a crime, it's a spark that could ignite unrest. The plebs are already restless, muttering about omens and divine wrath. Augustus, still consolidating power after years of civil war, can't afford a scandal. Holmes knows the theft was orchestrated by someone with influence, and their prime suspect, the disgraced Senator Publius Clodius, is the key to unlocking the mystery. Holmes and Varenus begin their investigation by tracking Clodius' movements. Varenus, with his network of informants, freedmen, tavern keepers, even a one-eyed beggar who hears everything, learns that Clodius has been spotted near the Esquiline Hill, a district known for its sprawling villas and hidden vices. Holmes, ever the observer, insists on visiting the senator's last known haunt, a lavish domus now abandoned after his exile. The house is a treasure trove of clues, a shattered amphora stained with rare Eastern wine, a wax tablet with half-erased accounts of payments to unnamed clients, and a scrap of papyrus tucked under a loose floorboard. The papyrus is written in Greek, a language Holmes mastered in his guise as a scholar. It reads, "The eagle flies at midnight beneath the bones of the forgotten." Cryptic, but to Holmes, It's a neon sign pointing to the catacombs beneath Rome, where early Christians and outcasts hide their secrets. To decode this, Holmes employs his method: observation, analysis, elimination. The phrase "beneath the bones" suggests the catacombs, a network of tunnels used for burials and clandestine meetings. Midnight implies a secret gathering, and the eagle could refer to the stolen relic or something more symbolic. Like imperial power itself, Varenus, skeptical but intrigued, warns Holmes that the catacombs are a maze of danger, patrolled by outlaws and guarded by superstition. But Holmes is undeterred. He's faced worse than ghosts in his career. They prepare to infiltrate the meeting, disguising themselves as mourners to blend in. Holmes swaps his toga for a rough tunic, smudging his face with ash to look like a grieving laborer, while Varenus, with his soldier's instincts, carries a concealed gladius just in case. The catacombs are a stark contrast to Rome's gleaming surface. Narrow tunnels twist through damp stone, lit only by flickering oil lamps. The air is heavy with the smell of earth and decay. As Holmes and Varenus creep deeper, they hear muffled voices echoing off the walls. Holmes' keen senses pick up details: the scuff of expensive sandals, the clink of coins changing hands, the faint scent of myrrh, perfume favored by Rome's elite. They reach a chamber where a dozen figures, cloaked and hooded, are gathered around a crude stone altar. At its center is the golden eagle, glinting in the lamplight. The leader, a man with a senator's polished accent, speaks of cleansing the city and restoring the republic. Holmes whispers to Varenus, "This isn't about theft, it's about treason." The meeting reveals a plot far grander than a stolen relic. The conspirators, led by a shadowy figure they call the Praetor, plan to use the eagle as a rallying symbol to incite a rebellion against Augustus. By framing the theft as a divine omen, they hope to turn the plebs against the emperor, sparking chaos that will let them seize power. Clodius, it seems, is just a pawn, a disgraced noble with enough grudges to be useful. But who is the Praetor? Holmes needs more data. He notices one conspirator, a nervous young man with ink-stained fingers, slipping away early. A scribe, perhaps, or a messenger. Holmes signals Varenus to follow him, and they tail the man through the tunnels, emerging into the pre-dawn streets near the Aventini Hill. The chase is tense, but calculated. Holmes observes the scribe's gait limping, suggesting an old injury, and the way he glances over his shoulder, betraying fear. They corner him in an alley, and Varenus' intimidating presence, a centurion's glare is worth 1,000 words, persuades the man to talk. He reveals he's a freedman named Titus, hired to carry messages for the Praetor, whose identity he doesn't know. But he drops a crucial clue. The next meeting will be at the Baths of Agrippa, a public space where secrets hide in plain sight. Holmes files this away, his mind already racing through possibilities. Is the Praetor a senator, a general, or someone closer to Augustus than anyone suspects? As the chapter closes, Holmes and Varenus return to their Suburra hideout. The city, waking around them, the golden eagle is still in the conspirators' hands, and the clock is ticking. Holmes knows they're up against a mastermind who rivals his own intellect, a Roman Moriarty. Perhaps the Baths of Agrippa will be their next battlefield, where steaming pools and crowded corridors hide more than just gossip. This investigation is no longer about a single theft. It's about saving an empire from collapse. What's next for our detective duo? Will Holmes outsmart this shadowy Praetor, or is he in over his head in Rome's deadly game of power? Let me know your theories in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for Chapter 3, where we'll dive into the steamy intrigues of the Baths and uncover a betrayal that hits closer to home than Holmes expects. The sun beats down on Rome, its rays glinting off the polished marble of the Baths of Agrippa, a sprawling complex where the city's elite mingle with the masses. Steam rises from heated pools, and the hum of conversation fills the air. Gossip, deals and secrets traded as freely as wine. Sherlock Holmes, our toga-clad detective, and his loyal companion Lucius Vorenus are hot on the trail of a conspiracy that threatens Augustus' empire. Last chapter, they infiltrated a clandestine meeting in the catacombs, uncovering a plot to use a stolen golden eagle as a symbol to spark rebellion. Now, armed with a tip from a nervous scribe named Titus, they head to the baths where the conspirators plan their next move. In this chapter, we'll plunge into the steamy heart of Roman social life, where Holmes' keen observation skills face the ultimate test, spotting a traitor in a crowd of togas. Get ready for deception, danger, and a surprising ally who flips the case upside down. Let's dive in. The baths of Agrippa are more than a place to scrub off the day's grime. They're a microcosm of Rome itself. Senators plot in private alcoves, merchants haggle over trade deals, and spies eavesdrop behind columns. For Holmes, it's a goldmine of clues if he can filter out the noise. He and Vorenus enter the complex disguised as wealthy patrons, their tunics swapped for finer linen to blend with the elite. Holmes carries a wax tablet, pretending to jot down poetry, but really sketching the layout of the baths, entrances, exits, and shadowy corners where secrets might hide. Vorenus, ever the practical Roman, grumbles about the heat, but keeps his eyes peeled for their target, a conspirator meeting under the guise of a casual bath. The tip from Titus pointed to this location, but the baths are a maze of distractions, and time is short. Holmes' method thrives in chaos. As they move through the caldarium, a steaming hot room, he observes the crowd with surgical precision. A senator's nervous glance, a slave's hesitant step, a misplaced fibula pin on a togol are data points in his mental map. He notices a group of men lingering too long near a mosaic of Neptune, their conversation hushed but intense. One of them, a weary man with a scar across his knuckles, matches Titus' description of a conspirator's messenger. Holmes signals Vorenus, and they split up to cover more ground. Vorenus heads to the tepidarium, the warm room, to watch for anyone slipping away, while Holmes lingers, pretending to admire the mosaic while eavesdropping. The scarred man is cautious, but Holmes catches fragments of his conversation. The praetor demands loyalty. The eagle must be ready by the calends. The calends of the next month is just days away, meaning the conspirators are accelerating their plan. Holmes deduces the eagle will be used in a public spectacle, perhaps during a festival, to rally the plebs against Augustus. But who is the praetor? The scarred man mentions a name, Livia. Could it be Livia Drusilla, Augustus' powerful wife, rumored to wield influence behind the throne? Holmes files this away, skeptical but intrigued. He knows better than to trust a single clue, especially in a city where rumors are as common as flies. As Holmes follows the scarred man toward the frigidarium, the cold plunge pool, he's interrupted by an unexpected figure, a woman named Claudia, a sharp-witted freedwoman who runs a nearby taberna. Claudia, with her quick smile and sharper tongue, is one of Vorenus' informants. But she's no mere gossip. She's been watching the baths for weeks. Noticing patterns even Vorenus missed, she pulls Holmes aside, warning him that the scarred man known as Marcus the Knifeman is a hired blade for a powerful patron. More startling, she reveals she saw Publius Clodius, their disgraced senator suspect, entering the baths earlier, disguised as a lowly client. This changes everything. Clodius isn't just a pawn. He's still active, weaving his own schemes. Claudia becomes an unlikely ally, offering to guide Holmes through the bath's hidden passages, used by slaves to move unseen. These tunnels, damp and cramped, are a stark contrast to the opulent pools above, but they give Holmes a vantage point to observe without being noticed. From a concealed grate, he watches Clodius meet Marcus in a private alcove. Their conversation is tense, Claudius demands assurances that the praetor will honor their deal, while Marcus hisses about delays and risks. Holmes notes Claudius, clenched fist a sign of desperation, and a wax seal on a scroll Marcus hands over, bearing a symbol of a laurel wreath. That seal could be a clue to the praetor's identity, but before Holmes can act, a shout echoes through the baths. Varenus, in the tepidarium, has been spotted by a conspirator's lookout. The situation escalates fast. Varenus, with his centurion's instincts, holds his own in a brief scuffle, but the lookout escapes, alerting others. Holmes and Claudia rush to regroup with Varenus, navigating the crowded baths as suspicion ripples through the patrons. They slip into the apoditerium, the changing room, where Holmes quickly deduces an escape route through a service door. But the conspirators are closing in, and Marcus the knifeman is nowhere to be seen. Claudia, proving her worth, distracts a pursuing guard by spilling a tray of oils, giving Holmes and Varenus time to slip out into the bustling streets. Back in their Suburra hideout, Holmes pieces together the day's findings. The laurel wreath seal suggests a connection to the imperial household. Laurels are Augustus' symbol, but Livia's involvement feels too obvious, a possible red herring. Claudius' presence confirms he's more than a scapegoat. He's a key player, but not the mastermind. The Callan's deadline looms, and the baths have revealed both allies and enemies. Claudia's quick thinking has earned her a place in their circle, her street smarts complementing Holmes' logic and Varenus' muscle. But the net is tightening, and Holmes knows the praetor is watching, anticipating their moves. As the chapter wraps, Holmes stands by a flickering oil lamp, sketching the laurel wreath seal on his wax tablet. The baths have given him a glimpse into the conspiracy's heart, but the praetor remains a shadow. The next step is to track Claudia's movements and decode the seal's origin, which could lead them to the Senate itself. The game is afoot, and Rome's fate hangs in the balance. What's next for Holmes, Varenus, and their new ally Claudia? Will they crack the seal's secret, or walk into a trap set by the praetor? Drop your guesses in the comments, and let's keep unraveling this Roman mystery together. Don't forget to like and subscribe for Chapter 4, where we'll follow our heroes into the Senate's lion's den. See you there. The Roman Forum hums with life as merchants shout their wares and orators declaim from the rostra. But beneath the surface, the city teeters on the edge of chaos. Sherlock Holmes, disguised as the Greek scholar Sherlockus Holmius, stands at the heart of this political arena, his mind racing like a chariot on the Circus Maximus. Last chapter, Holmes, Lucius Varenus, and their sharp-witted ally Claudia uncovered a conspiracy in the steamy baths of Agrippa, where the stolen golden eagle is being used to fuel a rebellion against Augustus, a cryptic laurel wreath seal, and the reappearance of the disgraced Senator Publius Claudius point to a plot rooted in Rome's elite. Now, in Chapter 4, we follow Holmes into the Senate itself, a den of ambition where every smile hides a dagger. With the Callans approaching, Holmes must decipher the seal's origin and outwit a cunning adversary who's always one step ahead. Buckle up for a chapter packed with political intrigue, a shocking betrayal, and Holmes' most daring deduction. Yet, let's step into the lion's den. The Senate House, a grand structure of marble and ambition, is where Rome's power brokers clash. Senators in pristine togas debate taxes and conquests, but their words are a mask for private schemes. Holmes knows this is where the conspiracy's threads converge. The laurel wreath seal from the baths, a symbol tied to Augustus' imperial authority, suggests the praetor, the mysterious mastermind, may be someone close to the emperor. But Claudius, a disgraced exile, shouldn't have access to such symbols. How is he involved? And who's pulling his strings? Holmes, Varenus, and Claudia devise a plan to infiltrate the Senate's orbit. Using their unique skills, Holmes' deduction, Varenus' connections, and Claudia's knack for blending into any crowd to enter this world, Holmes poses as a scribe. For a minor senator, a role that lets him observe without drawing attention. He carries a stylus and wax tablet, scribbling notes that are really sketches of faces, gestures, and overheard snippets. Vorenus, leveraging his centurion past, secures a meeting with a loyalist senator, Gaius Marcellus, the same patrician, who hired them to recover the Golden Eagle. Marcellus, a stout man with a nervous tic, reveals that rumors of the eagle's theft are spreading, fueling unrest among the plebs. He suspects a faction within the Senate is exploiting the chaos to undermine Augustus. Holmes, listening intently, notices Marcellus' tic worsens when mentioning Livia, Augustus' wife. Is it fear, guilt, or something else? The clue is tantalizing, but incomplete. Claudia, meanwhile, works the forum's edges, posing as a fruit seller to eavesdrop on senators' clients and freedmen. Her sharp ears catch a name, Aulus Hirtius, a rising senator with a reputation for ruthless ambition. Hirtius was seen meeting Clodius near the Temple of Vesta, an odd place for an exile to linger. Holmes deduces that the temple, a sacred site, guarded by Vestal virgins, could be a cover for passing messages. Its sanctity protects it from scrutiny. He sends Claudia to investigate, while he and Vorenus tail Hirtius after a Senate session. The senator moves with purpose, his retinue of bodyguards suggesting he's more than a mere politician. The trail leads to a private villa on the Celian Hill, where Hirtius hosts a lavish banquet. Holmes and Vorenus sneak in, disguised as wine servers, thanks to Claudia's contacts among the city's servants. The banquet is a who's who of Rome's elite, senators, equestrians, even a few military tribunes. Holmes observes Hirtius closely, noting his charisma and the way he commands. The room, a toast to the Republic's future, raises Holmes' suspicions. Its coded language, too vague for a casual dinner. Then a guest drops a scroll, and Holmes, quick as a hawk, glimpses the laurel wreath seal before it's snatched up. The same seal from the baths. Hirtius is connected, but is he the praetor or another pawn? The night takes a dangerous turn when Vorenus recognizes a guest, Marcus the knifeman, the scarred conspirator from the baths. Before they can act, Claudia slips them a warning via a servant. A trap is closing. Someone has tipped off Hirtius' guards, who are now watching the exits. Holmes' mind races, piecing together the betrayal. Marcellus, their supposed ally, knew their plans and has been too eager to push them toward Hirtius. Is he playing both sides? Holmes decides to test the theory. He stages a loud argument with Vorenus about a lost scroll, ensuring Marcellus spies over here. Sure enough, guards move to intercept, confirming Marcellus' duplicity. The trio escapes through a service tunnel, but not before Holmes plants a fake clue, a forged note implicating a rival senator, to sow discord among the conspirators. Back in the Suburra, Holmes lays out the puzzle. Marcellus is likely feeding information to the praetor, using Holmes to flush out rivals like Hirtius. The laurel wreath seal ties the plot to the imperial household, but Livia's involvement still feels like a misdirection. Clodius, Hirtius, and Marcellus are pieces on the board, but the praetor remains elusive. Holmes deduces the next move, the Temple of Vesta, where Clodius was spotted, holds the key to the eagle's location and the praetor's plan. The chapter closes with Holmes staring at the forum's flickering torches, his mind a storm of connections. The Calends are 2 days away, and the conspiracy is tightening its grip. Claudia's loyalty and quick thinking have proven invaluable, but Vorenus is shaken by Marcellus' betrayal, a reminder that in Rome, trust is a luxury. Holmes knows the Temple of Vesta will be their next battleground, where sacred flames hide secular sins. The praetor is watching, and Holmes must outmaneuver a mind as sharp as his own. What's waiting in the Temple of Vesta? Will Holmes expose the praetor, or has he underestimated Rome's ruthless players? Drop your thoughts in the comments. and let's keep unraveling this epic mystery. Like and subscribe for Chapter 5, where we'll venture into the sacred heart of Rome and face a truth that could burn everything down. See you there. The Temple of Vesta glows softly in the Roman dawn, its eternal flame casting shadows on the white marble. The forum around it buzzes with early risers, merchants setting up stalls, priests chanting prayers, but inside, the air is heavy with secrets. Sherlock Holmes, under his alias Sherlockus Holmius, stands poised with Lucius Vorenus and Claudia, their new ally, ready to unravel the next thread of a conspiracy threatening Augustus' empire. Last chapter, they dodged a trap in a senator's villa, exposing Gaius Marcellus' betrayal and linking the stolen golden eagle to a plot against the emperor. A laurel wreath seal and Publius Clodius' presence at the Temple of Vesta point to this sacred site as the conspirators' next move. In Chapter 5, we'll step into the hallowed halls of Vesta, where Holmes' logic clashes with superstition and a mysterious oracle reveals a clue that turns the case upside down. With the calends just days away, the stakes are higher than ever. Grab your toga and let's dive into the mystery. The Temple of Vesta is no ordinary place. Guarded by the Vestal Virgins, sworn to protect Rome's sacred flame, it's a fortress of tradition where even senators tread carefully. The golden eagle, stolen from Jupiter's temple, is likely hidden here, its symbolic power a weapon to rally the plebs against Augustus. Holmes knows infiltrating the temple is risky. Only women and priests enter freely, but Claudia's street smarts make her the perfect candidate. Posing as a supplicant seeking a blessing, she slips inside, while Holmes and Vorenus watch from the forum, disguised as grain merchants. Holmes' eyes dart across the scene, noting a nervous priest adjusting his robes to often and a Vestal's glance toward a side chamber. Every detail is a clue in his mental mosaic. Claudia's mission is to find evidence of Clodius' visits or the eagle itself. Inside, the temple is a maze of flickering lamps and hushed prayers. She overhears a Vestal whispering to a cloaked figure. Clodius, unmistakable by his limp from an old wound. He's speaking of an oracle's prophecy that will cleanse Rome. Claudia, quick on her feet, pretends to drop an offering, edging closer to hear more. The Vestal mentions a hidden chamber where the eagle rests until the calends. Before Claudia can learn more, a senior Vestal interrupts, and she's forced to retreat. She relays the intel to Holmes and Vorenus. The eagle is here, and an oracle's prophecy is driving the conspirators' plan. Holmes is skeptical of oracles. Superstition is the enemy of reason, but he knows the power of belief in Rome. The plebs trust omens, and a well-timed prophecy could spark rebellion. He deduces the oracle is likely a person, possibly a Vestal or priest manipulated by the praetor, the conspiracy's mastermind. To confirm this, Holmes needs access to the temple's inner sanctum, a near impossible task. Vorenus suggests bribing a priest, but Holmes opts for a bolder plan. He'll pose as a soothsayer from Delphi, claiming divine insight into the eagle's theft. It's a gamble. Vestal virgins are sharp and suspicious, but Holmes' flair for deception is unmatched. With Claudia's help, Holmes crafts a convincing disguise, a flowing robe, a staff adorned with laurel, and a forged letter from a Delphic priest. Vorenus, uneasy with the plan, stands guard outside, ready to intervene if things go south. Inside the temple, Holmes is granted an audience with the Virgo Maxima, the chief Vestal, a woman named Flavia whose piercing gaze rivals his own. He spins a tale of visions sent by Apollo, warning of a false eagle that defiles Vesta's sanctity. Flavia is guarded but intrigued, especially when Holmes subtly drops details only someone with insider knowledge, like Clodius Limp, would know. She reveals the temple has been receiving cryptic messages from an oracle in the Palatine, urging the Vestals to protect a sacred relic. The messages bear the laurel wreath seal. This is a breakthrough. the Palatine, home to Augustus' residence, ties the conspiracy closer to the imperial household. But Flavia's next words stun Holmes. The oracle is a woman, known only as the Sibyl, who speaks through a freedman intermediary. Could this be Livia, Augustus' wife, or another powerful figure? Holmes presses Flavia, but a commotion outside interrupts them. Vorenus signals danger. Marcus the knifeman, the conspirator from the baths, has been spotted nearby, likely tailing them. The temple is no longer safe. Holmes thanks Flavia, planting a seed of doubt about the oracle, and slips out with Claudia Dot in a shadowed alley. The trio regroup. The Sibyl's involvement raises the stakes. Prophecies are a political weapon in Rome, and a female oracle suggests someone with access to the city's sacred traditions. Holmes hypothesizes the prior is using the Sibyl to manipulate the Vestals, leveraging their influence to legitimize the rebellion. But time is running out. The Calends are tomorrow, and the eagle must be recovered before it's paraded as a divine sign. Holmes decides to track the freedman intermediary, who Claudia saw leaving the temple. They follow him to a crowded market near the Tiber, where he meets a figure in a hooded cloak. Holmes' keen eye catches a glimpse of a ring on the figure's hand, engraved with a laurel wreath. The same seal, again. The chase through the market is tense. The freedman, sensing he's followed, ducks through stalls, but Claudia's agility keeps them on his tail. Vorenus corners him near a fishmonger's cart, and under pressure, the man cracks. He's a courier for the Sibyl, paid to deliver messages to the Vestals and Clodius. He doesn't know her identity, but reveals her next prophecy will be announced at the festival of the Calends, in the Forum, where the eagle will be revealed to the masses. Holmes sees the plan clearly now. The prior will use the prophecy to incite chaos, framing Augustus as cursed by the gods. As the chapter closes, Holmes, Vorenus, and Claudia huddle in their Suburra hideout, the city's noise fading as night falls. The laurel wreath seal, the Sibyl, and the Calends form a deadly triangle, but the praetor's identity remains elusive. Holmes sketches the ring's design, his mind racing. The festival tomorrow is their last chance to stop the conspiracy, but the temple's secrets have raised more questions than answers. Is the Sibyl a pawn or the praetor herself? And how does Clodius fit into this divine deception? What's next for our trio as the Calends dawn? Will Holmes outsmart the Sibyl, or is he walking into a trap woven by Rome's sacred flames? Share your predictions in the comments, and let's keep this mystery burning. Like and subscribe for Chapter 6, where we'll face the roar of the Colosseum and a secret that could change everything. See you there. The Colosseum hasn't been built yet, but Rome's bloodthirsty appetite for spectacle thrives in the makeshift arenas of 27 BCE, where gladiators clash to the roar of the crowd. As the festival of the Calends looms, Sherlock Holmes, alias Sherlockus Holmius, stands with Lucius Vorenus and Claudia in the shadow of a wooden amphitheater near the campus Martius. Last chapter, they uncovered a plot tied to the Temple of Vesta, where a mysterious Sibyl and her laurel-wreathed messages fuel a conspiracy to topple Augustus. Using a stolen golden eagle, with the Calends mere hours away, the conspirators plan to unveil the eagle at the festival, sparking rebellion with a staged prophecy. In Chapter 6, we plunge into the gritty world of Rome's gladiators, where Holmes uncovers a surprising ally with a secret that could break the case wide open or lead them into a deadly trap. Get ready for sweat, steel, and a twist that'll leave you gasping. Let's enter the arena. The Festival of the Calends is Rome's grand celebration of the new month, a chaotic blend of sacrifices, feasts, and games. The plebs flood the streets, eager for free bread and bloody entertainment, making it the perfect stage for the conspirators to wield the golden eagle as a divine omen. Holmes knows the prophecy announced by the Sibyl will ignite the crowd, branding Augustus as forsaken by the gods. Their only lead is the freedman courier from the temple, who revealed the eagle's reveal is tied to the festival's gladiatorial games. Holmes deduces the conspirators will use the arena's chaos to smuggle the relic into the forum, hidden among the spectacle. To stop them, he, Vorenus, and Claudia must infiltrate the gladiatorial underworld, a world Vorenus knows well. From his soldiering days, the trio heads to Ludus, a gladiator training school, where fighters are honed into killing machines. Vorenus' old military contacts grant them entry, but the lanista, a grizzled ex-centurion named Decimus, is wary of outsiders. Holmes, posing as a Greek physician studying fighters' injuries, gains access to the barracks. His keen eyes scan the scene, scarred men sharpening blades, the stench of sweat and liniment, and a locked storeroom guarded by a thug with a familiar scar mark as the knifeman. The conspirator from the baths. Holmes whispers to Claudia, "The eagle is here," but getting to it means navigating a den of men trained to kill. Holmes' strategy is to blend observation with deception. He examines a wounded gladiator, using the ruse to question the fighters. Most are tight-lipped, loyal to Decimus or terrified of Marcus, but one man stands out, a hulking Thracian gladiator named Spartacus, not the Spartacus, but a fighter with the same fire in his eyes. Spartacus, nursing a bandaged arm, watches Holmes with a mix of suspicion and curiosity. When Holmes subtly mentions the eagle, Spartacus' grip tightens on his sword. He knows something. Holmes takes a risk, slipping him a note in Greek. "The eagle flies at midnight. Trust me." It's a calculated move, echoing the catacombs' cryptic message to test Spartacus' reaction. That night, Spartacus seeks them out in a shadowy corner of the Ludus. He's no mere brute. His sharp mind and hatred for Rome's elite make him a potential ally. He reveals a secret. Marcus the knifeman has been meeting with a cloaked figure in the Ludus, delivering the golden eagle to the storeroom under Decimus' orders. Spartacus overheard them discussing the Sibyl's prophecy, set to be proclaimed during his fight at the festival's climax. The gladiator's role? To lose deliberately, letting a Roman champion slay him as the eagle is revealed, symbolizing the Republic's triumph over Augustus' empire. Spartacus, enslaved and bitter, wants out. He'll help Holmes if they promise him freedom. This alliance is a game changer, but it's fraught with risk. Spartacus is a wild card, driven by vengeance as much as loyalty. Holmes, Vorenus, and Claudia devise a plan. Spartacus will fight as planned, but signal when the eagle is brought into the arena. Claudia will infiltrate the crowd as a wine vendor, watching for the Sibyl's messenger, while Vorenus secures a vantage point among the guards. Holmes will slip into the storeroom during the fight, using the chaos to retrieve the eagle. It's a delicate balance. One misstep, and they'll be exposed. The festival dawns, and the arena pulses with energy. The crowd roars as gladiators clash, blood staining the sand. Holmes, disguised as a servant, picks the storeroom lock, his heart pounding as he hears Spartacus' fight begin. Inside, he finds the golden eagle, wrapped in linen, but also a scroll with the laurel wreath seal. It's a list of named senators, equestrians, even priests marked for assassination after the rebellion. The praetor's plan isn't just to topple Augustus, it's to purge Rome's elite and seize total control. Before Holmes can escape, Marcus appears, blade drawn. A tense standoff ensues, but Claudia's quick distraction, a spilled wine jug in the corridor, gives Holmes time to slip away. With the eagle outside, Spartacus fights with unexpected ferocity. Defying the script, he downs his opponent, drawing cheers in chaos, delaying the prophecy's announcement. But the Sibyl's messenger, a hooded figure in the crowd, vanishes before Claudia can intercept. Vorenus spots a familiar face among the spectators, Gaius Marcellus, their treacherous client. Whispering to a priest, the betrayal runs deeper than they thought. Holmes, clutching the eagle, regroups with the team as the crowd disperses, but the prophecy's delay is temporary. The Sibyl will try again, and the praetor is still a shadow. As the chapter closes, Holmes, Vorenus, Claudia, and Spartacus hide in a safe house near the Tiber. The eagle is secure, but the scroll's list of targets reveals the conspiracy's scope. The praetor's ambition is boundless, and Marcellus' presence at the arena suggests he's more than a turncoat, he's a key player. Holmes studies the scroll, his mind racing. The Palatine, where the Sibyl's messages originate, is there. Next stop, the festival of the Calends has bought them time, but the praetor is closing in. Can Holmes trust Spartacus, or is the gladiator playing his own game? Will the Palatine reveal the Sibyl's true face? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And let's keep this Roman mystery alive. Like and subscribe for Chapter 7, where we storm the Palatine Hill and face a truth that could shatter the empire. See you there. The Palatine Hill looms over Rome, its grand villas and imperial residences a testament to power, where Augustus himself holds court. As night falls, the city's torches flicker like stars. But danger lurks in the shadows. Sherlock Holmes, still, cloaked as Sherlockus Holmius, stands with Lucius Vorenus, Claudia, and their new ally, the gladiator Spartacus, clutching the recovered golden eagle from Jupiter's temple. Last chapter, they thwarted the conspirators' plan to unveil the eagle at the Festival of the Calends, uncovering a scroll that revealed a chilling assassination list targeting Rome's elite. The mysterious praetor, orchestrating the plot, remains elusive, but clues point to the Palatine as the source of the Sibyl's prophecies. In Chapter 7, we ascend into the heart of imperial power, where Holmes' deductive prowess faces its toughest test, navigating a maze of loyalty and lies to expose a traitor in Augustus' inner circle. Get ready for a high-stakes showdown that could save or doom the empire. Let's climb the hill. The Palatine is Rome's most exclusive address, home to the emperor and his closest allies. It's a fortress of wealth and influence, guarded by the Praetorian Guard, whose loyalty to Augustus is absolute, or so it seems. Holmes knows the Sibyl's messages, bearing the laurel wreath seal, originate here, suggesting the praetor is someone with access to the imperial household. The scroll's list of targets senators, priests, even military tribunes points to a coup aimed at reshaping Rome's power structure. But the presence of Gaius Marcellus, their double-dealing client at the festival, raises questions. Is he the praetor, a pawn, or something else? Holmes, Vorenus, Claudia, and Spartacus must infiltrate the Palatine to find answers. But one false move could land them in chains. Holmes devises a plan to blend into the hill's elite circles. He poses as a Greek envoy, bearing a forged invitation to a symposium hosted by a minor noble, while Claudia slips in as a servant. Her knack for blending in unmatched. Vorenus, with his military credentials, secures a post as a temporary guard, leveraging old contacts. Spartacus, too conspicuous as a gladiator, waits nearby, ready to intervene if things go south. The symposium, held in a lavish villa overlooking the Forum, is a glittering affair of wine, poetry, and veiled power plays. Holmes observes the guests, senators with forced smiles, equestrians eyeing each other's wealth, and a quiet woman in a stola, her ring glinting with a laurel wreath. Could she be the Sibyl? Using his deductive skills, Holmes navigates the room, picking up clues like a hawk. He notes a guest-stained finger's ink, not wine, suggesting a scribe or plotter. A whispered conversation about the Calends' failure confirms. The conspirators are rattled by the eagle's recovery. Claudia, serving wine, overhears a servant mention a secret meeting in the villa's private shrine, dedicated to Apollo. Holmes deduces this is where the Sibyl's prophecies are crafted. He signals Claudia to create a distraction, a spilled amphora of wine, and slips into the shrine. A dimly lit chamber adorned with laurel motifs. Inside, he finds a cache of scrolls, each sealed with the laurel wreath, detailing plans for the coup. One scroll mentions a final strike at a Senate meeting tomorrow, where the eagle was meant to seal Augustus' fate before Holmes can escape. He's confronted by a figure in the shadows, Livia Drusilla, Augustus' wife. Her eyes cold and calculating. She's no stranger to power, rumored to control half the Senate through favors and fear. Holmes, ever composed, plays his envoy role, but Livia's too sharp. She knows he's no ordinary guest. In a tense exchange, she hints at knowing about the eagle's theft and the praetor's plans, but denies being the Sibyl. Instead, she suggests the praetor is closer to Augustus than anyone suspects. A family member, perhaps. Holmes files this away, noting her ring lacks the laurel wreath. Is she deflecting? Or is the praetor indeed someone else, outside? Verena spots trouble. Marcellus, their treacherous client, arrives at the villa, escorted by Marcus the knifeman. The conspiracy's threads are converging. Claudia, quick as ever, intercepts a servant carrying a message to Marcellus, swapping it with a blank scroll. The message, glimpsed briefly, orders Marcellus to secure the Senate for the praetor's strike. Holmes regroups with Vorenus and Claudia, but Spartacus sends an urgent signal. A Praetorian patrol is closing in, tipped off by an unknown traitor. The trio flees through the villa's gardens, narrowly escaping as guards sweep the grounds. In their Suburra safe house, Holmes pieces together the puzzle. Livia's words, the scrolls, and Marcellus' presence point to a plot centered on tomorrow's Senate meeting. The praetor plans to use the failed Callan's prophecy as a distraction, striking when Augustus is vulnerable. But Livia's hint about a family member gnaws at Holmes. Could it be Tiberius, her son, or another relative? Spartacus, restless, urges action, offering to rally gladiators to protect the Senate. But Holmes cautions restraint force won't outsmart the praetor. Claudia suggests tracking Marcellus to confirm his role, while Vorenus, shaken by the Palatine's dangers, vows to guard Holmes with his life. The chapter closes with Holmes staring at the stolen eagle, its golden wings glinting in the lamplight. The Palatine has revealed the conspiracy's ambition, but not the praetor's face. Tomorrow's Senate meeting is the endgame, and Holmes must anticipate a mind as cunning as his own. The laurel wreath seal, the Sibyl's prophecies, and Marcellus' betrayal form a deadly web, and one wrong step could unravel everything. Who is the praetor? And can Holmes stop the Senate strike? What's your take on Livia's role? Is she friend or foe? Drop your theories in the comments. And let's keep this Roman conspiracy rolling. Like and subscribe for Chapter 8, where we'll witness the eagle's final flight and a revelation that shakes Rome to its core. See you there. The Roman Forum pulses with tension as the Senate prepares to convene, its marble columns standing like sentinels under a blood-red dawn. Sherlock Holmes, disguised as Sherlockus Holmius, clutches the recovered golden eagle, his mind a whirlwind of clues and calculations. With Lucius Vorenus, Claudia, and the gladiator Spartacus by his side, he's closing in on the praetor, the mastermind behind a conspiracy to topple Augustus. Last chapter, their infiltration of the Palatine Hill revealed a plot to strike at today's Senate meeting, with a forged prophecy and a list of assassination targets. Livia's cryptic hints and Gaius Marcellus' betrayal point to a traitor in Augustus' inner circle. In Chapter 8, we dive into the heart of Rome's power, where Holmes must outwit a cunning adversary to save the empire. Expect twists, a daring chase, and the eagle's final flight. Let's storm the Senate. The Senate House is a fortress of tradition, packed with toga-clad senators debating the fate of Rome. The air is thick with incense and ambition, but Holmes knows it's also a stage for treason. The praetor's plan, thwarted at the Calans, hinges on this meeting to unleash chaos. The golden eagle, meant to symbolize divine wrath, is now in Holmes' hands. But the conspirators, led by the elusive Sybil and backed by Marcellus and Marcus the knifeman, are ready to act. Holmes deduces the praetor will use a distraction, likely a staged omen or assassination, to spark panic and pin it on Augustus. With the eagle secured, Holmes aims to turn the tables, using it to expose the plot. The team splits up for maximum coverage. Holmes, posing as a scribe, slips into the Senate's outer chambers, his wax tablet hiding sketches of suspects. Vorenus, leveraging his centurion credentials, joins the Praetorian Guard detail. Watching for Marcus or Marcellus, Claudia, disguised as a priestess attendant, blends into the crowd outside, where plebs gather for news. Spartacus, too recognizable, lurks near the forum's edges, ready to intervene with brute force. Holmes' plan is to identify the praetor before the strike, using the eagle as bait. He spreads a rumor through Claudia's network that the relic has been found and will be presented to Augustus during the session, forcing the conspirators to act. As the Senate convenes, Holmes observes the chaos, senators arguing over grain shortages, priests muttering about omens, and Marcellus sweating despite the cool morning. Avoiding eye contact, Holmes notices a young senator, Tiberius Claudius Nero Livius' son, fidgeting with a ring bearing a laurel wreath. Could he be the praetor? The clue fits, but Holmes hesitates. Tiberius lacks the cunning to orchestrate such a plot. Then, a commotion erupts outside. Claudius signals from the crowd. A priest, claiming to be the Sibyl's voice, is proclaiming a prophecy of doom, blaming Augustus for the eagle's loss. The plebs, already restless, begin to riot, chanting for the Republic's return. Holmes sees the praetor's handiwork a distraction to cover the real strike. Vorenus spots Marcus slipping into a side chamber, carrying a sealed scroll. Holmes follows, navigating the Senate's labyrinthine corridors. Inside, he finds Marcus handing the scroll to a cloaked figure, not Tiberius, but a woman with a commanding presence. It's Flavia, the Virgo Maxima from the Temple of Vesta, her ring gleaming with the laurel wreath. The Sibyl and the praetor are one and the same. Flavia's sacred status gave her access to prophecies and power, letting her manipulate priests, senators, and even Clodius to orchestrate the coup. The scroll orders Marcellus to kill a key senator during the chaos, framing Augustus for the murder. Holmes confronts Flavia, his calm voice cutting through her zeal. She admits her plan to restore the Republic by destroying Augustus' regime, using the eagle as a divine mandate. But Holmes reveals he is the eagle, shattering her narrative. Enraged, she signals Marcus, who lunges with his blade. Holmes, anticipating the move, dodges and uses a nearby brazier to disarm him, sending coals scattering. The noise draws Vorenus, who subdues Marcus. Outside, Claudia rallies the crowd, spreading word that the eagle is safe. Calming the riot, Spartacus blocks Flavia's escape, his gladiator strength overwhelming her guards. With Flavia captured, the plot unravels. Marcellus, realizing the plan has failed, tries to flee, but is caught by Vorenus' Praetorian allies. The eagle is presented to Augustus, who uses it to quell rumors of divine disfavor. Flavia's treachery shocks the Senate. She's stripped of her vestal status and exiled, her conspiracy exposed. But Holmes, ever cautious, wonders if she was the true mastermind or a pawn for someone even higher. Livia's absence during the chaos lingers in his mind, a loose thread dot as the chapter closes. Holmes, Vorenus, Claudia, and Spartacus stand in the forum, the eagle gleaming in the sunlight. The conspiracy is crushed, but Rome's fragility is clear. Spartacus, promised freedom, prepares to leave, his debt to Holmes paid. Claudia eyes the Palatine, hinting at future adventures. Holmes, gazing at the Senate House, knows the praetor's shadow may linger. The eagle has flown, but Rome's secrets never rest. Did Flavia act alone, Or is Livia still pulling strings? What's next for our heroes? Share your thoughts in the comments. And let's keep this Roman saga alive. Like and subscribe for Chapter 9, where we'll unmask the final truth and face a reckoning that could redefine the empire. See you there. The Roman Forum lies quiet under a starlit sky, its marble gleaming like a stage after a grand performance. Sherlock Holmes, still under the guise of Sherlockus Holmius, stands with Lucius Vorenus and Claudia. The golden eagle safely returned to Jupiter's temple. The gladiator Spartacus has vanished into the night, his freedom earned. Last chapter, they foiled a conspiracy in the Senate, exposing Flavia, the Virgo Maxima, as the Sibyl orchestrating a coup against Augustus. Her exile seemed to end the threat, but Holmes' mind churns with doubt. The laurel wreath seal, the assassination list, and Livia's cryptic absence hint at a deeper truth. In Chapter 9, we unravel the final threads of the mystery as Holmes faces a mastermind who's been hiding in plain sight. Prepare for a shocking revelation, a deadly confrontation, and a truth that could reshape Rome. Let's unmask the praetor. The city feels deceptively calm after the Senate's chaos, but Holmes knows better. Rome's intrigues never sleep. Flavia's confession tied up many loose ends. She used her sacred status to manipulate priests and senators, wielding the stolen eagle to spark rebellion. Yet her motives felt too idealistic for a lone mastermind, and her resources forged. Seals, hired blades like Marcus the Knifeman suggest a patron with deeper pockets and power. Holmes suspects the praetor is still at large, using Flavia as a front to shield their identity. The laurel wreath seal, tied to Augustus' household, points to the Palatine, and Livia's name lingers like a shadow. Could the emperor's wife be the true architect? Holmes, Vorenus, and Claudia regroup in their Suburra hideout, poring over the evidence. The assassination list from the gladiator Ludus named senators loyal to Augustus, but one name stands out: Gaius Marcellus, their treacherous client. Why include their own ally on a hit list? Holmes deduces Marcellus was a decoy, meant to be sacrificed to deflect suspicion from the praetor. Livia's hint about a family member and her absence during the Senate strike gnaw at him. He hypothesizes she orchestrated the plot, using Flavia's zeal and Marcellus' greed to mask her own ambition. To prove it, they need evidence from the Palatine, specifically Livia's private quarters. Infiltrating the imperial residence is near suicide, but Holmes thrives on the impossible. He crafts a plan. Claudia, with her servant connections, will pose as a maid to access Livia's chambers, while Vorenus secures a forged pass to enter as a guard. Holmes, disguised as a priest of Apollo, will request an audience with Augustus to gauge Livia's reaction. The risk is immense. Praetorian guards patrol every corner, and Livia's spies are everywhere. Claudia, ever resourceful, slips into the Palatine's service quarters. Blending with the staff, she finds Livia's study, a locked room guarded by a single soldier. Using a sleight-of-hand trick, she distracts him with a drop tray and picks the lock. Her heart pounding. Inside, Claudia uncovers a trove of evidence: scrolls bearing the laurel wreath seal, letters to Flavia ordering the eagle's theft, and a map marking Senate exits for the assassination plot. One scroll chillingly details a new order post-coup, with Livia as regent for her son Tiberius. The pieces snap into place. Livia is the praetor, orchestrating chaos to secure her family's power. Claudia pockets a sealed letter and escapes, but not before a servant spots her, raising the alarm. Meanwhile, Holmes' audience with Augustus is tense. The emperor, wary but grateful for the eagle's return, mentions Livia's concern for Rome's stability. Her absence during the meeting confirms Holmes' suspicion she's avoiding scrutiny. Vorenus, stationed near the Palatine's gates, intercepts Claudia as she flees, pursued by guards. They rendezvous with Holmes in a shadowed grove, where He examines the stolen letter. It's a direct order to Marcellus, signed with Livia's personal seal, instructing him to betray Flavia if the Senate plan failed. The betrayal runs deeper. Marcellus was promised wealth, but marked for death to tie up loose ends. Holmes realizes Livia's genius. She's played every player, from priests to gladiators, against each other, keeping her hands clean. But the letter is the proof they need to expose her. The trio confronts Marcellus at his villa, catching him off guard. Verina's intimidating presence and Claudia's sharp-tongued force a confession. Marcellus was Livia's pawn, lured by promises of power but expendable. He reveals Livia's final plan, a poisoned plot to eliminate Augustus at a private banquet tonight, disguised as a sudden illness. With Flavia gone, Livia will blame the conspiracy on her, preserving her own innocence. Holmes sees the elegance of her scheme. No rebellion, no spectacle, just a quiet assassination to shift power to her son. They race to the Palatine, but the banquet is already underway. Holmes, thinking fast, poses as a wine taster, slipping into the kitchens. He spots a servant adding a vial to Augustus' cup, poison, likely hemlock, odorless but deadly. With Claudia's help, he swaps the cup, spilling the tainted wine in a staged accident. Verina bars the door, preventing the servants' escape, while Holmes presents the stolen letter to Augustus. The Emperor, shocked but calculating, orders Livia's arrest. Her composure cracks as guards seize her, her laurel wreath ring glinting in the torchlight. The praetor is unmasked. As the chapter closes, Holmes, Verina, and Claudia stand outside the Palatine, the city unaware of how close it came to collapse. Livia's exile is hushed up to avoid scandal, but Augustus rewards the trio with gold and a promise of favor. Holmes, ever restless, knows Rome's intrigues will never end. The eagle is safe, the praetor defeated, but the game of power continues. Was Livia the mastermind you expected, or did you see another twist coming? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's wrap this Roman epic. Like and subscribe for Chapter 10, where we'll see Holmes' final reckoning and a destiny that could change the empire forever. See you there. The Eternal City breathes a sigh of relief as dawn breaks over the Tiber, its waters reflecting a Rome preserved from chaos. Sherlock Holmes, still cloaked as Sherlockus Holmius, stands on the Aventini Hill with Lucius Verina and Claudia, gazing at the sprawling forum below. The golden eagle rests safely in Jupiter's temple, and Livia, unmasked as the praetor, faces exile for her plot to poison Augustus. Last chapter, our trio thwarted her final scheme, exposing a conspiracy that nearly toppled the empire. But Holmes' restless mind senses unfinished business, loose threads in a city where power shifts like sand. In this final chapter, we tie up the saga as Holmes reflects on his Roman adventure, faces a choice that could redefine his legacy, and uncovers one last secret that echoes beyond the Palatine. Join us for the epic conclusion of our tale. Let's close the case. Rome, in 27 BCE, is a city of triumphs and treachery. Its stability restored, but fragile. Augustus, now secure, owes his throne to Holmes' deduction. But the emperor is no sentimentalist. Heroes are useful until they're inconvenient. Holmes, Verina, and Claudia meet in their Suburra safe house, the air heavy with the weight of their victory. The golden eagle's return has quelled the plebs' unrest, and Flavia's exile as the scapegoat Sibyl has calmed the Senate. Livia's banishment, hushed to avoid scandal, leaves Tiberius under scrutiny but untouchable for now. Yet Holmes, ever the skeptic, questions whether Livia was the sole mastermind. Her cunning was undeniable, but her resources, forged seals, hired blades, and access to sacred sites suggest a broader network. Holmes lays out the evidence one last time: the laurel wreath seal, the assassination list, and the forged prophecies. He deduces Livia used Flavia's zeal and Marcellus greed as tools. But a stray clue nags him: a minor priest from the temple of Vesta, seen lingering near Livia's villa, who vanished after the Senate strike. Could he be a silent partner, or merely a loose end? To test this, Holmes sends Claudia to the temple, posing as a supplicant seeking forgiveness for disturbing the flame. She learns the priest, named Quintus, was exiled quietly by Augustus' orders, suggesting the emperor knows more than he's revealed. Varenus, using his Praetorian contacts, confirms Quintus was Livia's confidant, feeding her temple secrets to craft the Sibyl's prophecies. This revelation shifts the puzzle. Holmes hypothesizes Augustus allowed Livia's plot to unfold, using it to flush out disloyal senators like Marcellus while maintaining plausible deniability. The emperor's gratitude to Holmes was genuine, but his silence about Quintus hints at a deeper game. To confirm, Holmes requests a final audience with Augustus, presenting himself as a humble scholar. The meeting, held in a sparse chamber on the Palatine, is a chess match of wits. Augustus, his eyes sharp, praises Holmes, but warns that Rome forgets its saviors quickly. He offers a choice: stay as an advisor, wielding influence in the shadows, or leave with gold and anonymity. Holmes, true to form, chooses freedom. His loyalty is to truth, not power. Before departing, Holmes extracts one last clue. He notices a scroll on Augustus' table, sealed with a laurel wreath but subtly. Different tits leaves are crossed, not open. Augustus, caught off guard, admits it's a private seal for his most trusted agents. Quintus, he reveals, was one such agent, tasked with watching Livia but compromised by her charm. The priest's exile was Augustus' way of cleaning house without exposing his own surveillance. Holmes, satisfied, sees the full picture. Livia was the praetor, but Augustus played her game to strengthen his rule, using Holmes as an unwitting pawn to expose her. The trio prepares to part ways. Varenus, offered a Praetorian command, accepts, vowing to protect Rome from within. Claudia, ever the free spirit, plans to open a taberna, her informant network now a business empire. Spartacus, rumored to be gathering gladiators in the provinces, sends a cryptic note thanking Holmes for his freedom. As a final act, Holmes returns to the temple of Vesta, placing a laurel wreath at its entrance, not as an offering, but a reminder that truth outlives power. He boards a ship for Greece, his alias intact, ready for new mysteries beyond Rome's borders. The chapter closes with Holmes on the deck, the Roman skyline fading. He reflects on the city's paradox, a place where logic battles superstition, and every victory breeds a new conspiracy. The eagle's flight is over, but its shadow lingers. Holmes' deduction saved an empire, but his destiny lies elsewhere, in a world of puzzles yet to be solved. Rome, for now, is Augustus, but the game, as Holmes would say, is always afoot. What did you think of Holmes' Roman adventure? Would he thrive in another ancient empire? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep the detective spirit alive. Like and subscribe for more epic tales. And tell us what historical mystery you want next. Until then, Velite farewell from Rome.